welcome to another edition of the Get What Up podcast. Today with us is Jennifer Bonine.
Yay!
I said it right.
And it's a Monday.
And it's a Monday.
Hashtag winning.
Woo! I said it right. So Jennifer has this really, really cool company that she's CEO and co-founder of. But before we get there, we got to know the backstory.
Yeah.
So start with the backstory, and we're not talking like when you were born, but like maybe.
I could tell you about my first business at 5, but you know.
Oh, okay. That lemonade stand really took off.
Actually, you know what's super funny? I said this the other day. I was like, I wish that there would have been the same programs that we're working on right now for youth entrepreneurs when I was little, because I actually had the first concept of like Once Upon a Child, or that, you know, where you recycle the toys.
Yeah.
But like when I was 5, so no one had it then. And I was like recycling toys in my neighborhood, where I would take toys in the kids didn't want. They would get tickets, and then they could get new toys that they wanted, and we would switch them out.
Wow. At 5 years old.
At 5. Yeah. I was creating a toy recycling business.
Oh my
God. I knew I'd do entrepreneurship at some point in my career, but it started really little. My parents would get calls frequently from neighborhood parents, like, your kid took my kid's toys. She's like, no, it's her business and it's legit. We started signing waivers really early on.
Oh, well, there you go. Jeez, even your parents got involved.
Yeah, they're like, please sign a waiver if your child wants to participate.
Well, at least they were open to encouraging you.
Yeah, they were very open.
Most parents would be like, don't do this.
Yeah, no. And mine are they'll tell you, they'll be the first people to tell you they're not business people. By trade. My mom's a nurse. She's actually a nurse on a COVID unit right now. So she's like front line on all this. And my dad is a teacher. And so both of them were very encouraging, but they're like, we don't know how to do this. We will encourage you, but we don't really know what you're doing. Like, they were pretty sure I was switched at birth in the hospital, and like I was someone else's child. I'd wear like these little red power suits all the time when I was about 5 and 6. I picked him out at the store. I have no idea. So they were like, you were just born this way. We didn't make you this way. This is just who you are. And we're just going to like help you be you.
We're going to encourage the growth. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah. Like, so they were always about help me be me. But funny enough, I started my career in consulting. So I worked for Accenture. So anyone back as old as I am knows there used to be St. Charles, which was a camp they could send you to post-college, where you would hang out with other folks that were going to work for Accenture. And you basically, it was boot camp. And even though they offered you a job at the end of that camp, if you didn't pass the test, your job was done. So, yeah, it was pretty intense. So I did that for a while, and ended up taking on different director level jobs in technology companies, running teams, building teams, doing all of that. Got some mentorship under one of Jack Welch's old executives that he taught that up or out philosophy. So I learned up or out really quick. Like, either you're moving up or you need to go leave and work somewhere else, kind of a thing. So I got
shit or get off the pot kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. That was totally, and I learned that firsthand from one of the people he taught that to. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. And eventually went to work for Oracle, and it was a great experience, and figured out that it was probably time to do my own thing. And I felt like I was finally at a point where I'd learned enough to be stable enough on my own to create a company or an organization without needing to lean on other people in like a bigger corporation.
Sure. And that is?
Yes, the AI Appstore. So we created this.
The name of it cracks me up because I love it. PinkLion.
Yeah. So we originally, that's the funny part of this. So PinkLion, we came up with in about a year ago. We came up with this concept, and then just recently have started pivoting to the AI Appstore so people know what it does. What we always wanted to be, though, the reason for the logo and the way it looks the way it does, is because we wanted technology to be, we know AI is going to be the next industrial revolution. It's going to be important for all of us. Whether we get it or not now, it's important. But what we wanted was something that showed how important AI was, but a softer kind of side of it, so you're not afraid of it. Like if a pink lion walks up to you, it's very different than a real lion. So we were like, let's make it pink. It seems less threatening. It seems more approachable. So we did that and then pivoted, sold the PinkLion name in March, and now we're the AI Appstore, but same concept applies. We want to bring AI to the world and get it out there for everyone so it's usable and it makes sense. A lot of what we did too was start with, I mentioned I had a long background in tech, but what I wanted to do is start with social impact at our core. So really focusing on how do we do things that give back in the world, and how do we create a technology company that people actually trust, that we're not manipulating your data or selling it to people on the black market, or, you know, those types of things. So, and we really focused on how do we do that, especially now during COVID and with what the world's going through. So we really pivoted our verticals that we're working with to companies that have impact at their core around. One of the programs we're working on now is with youth. So youth entrepreneurs, creating a platform to engage them across the globe so that they can work on things they're passionate about. So there is a group of youth here in Minnesota, because we have Mayo Clinic in our backyard, who's working on a project called UMed. And we're infusing AI into UMed, which is basically the hospitals of the future. So where it's more robotics and automation and some of the things like delivery of medication and stuff like that through robots and other mechanisms. So we're working with them on that. And we're working with another youth C-level team, like an 11-year-old CEO, on a app that's AR, VR for veterans. So to help them with PTSD.
Oh, wow.
Back into the world. So these youth, I'm telling you, they're super smart. And I've spent time with some of the top tech CEOs in the world. And I love spending time with these kids. They're just so creative and, you know, so much fun to help them reach their passion.
And you have kids?
I do. I have 2 of them.
Well, how old are they?
I have a 4-year-old little boy. And my daughter will be 10 this month. Use track of time in COVID, I've noticed. I'm like, what day is it? What month am I? Right? Like, what month am I?
What year is that?
I know, right? And can we get a do-over?
Yeah, I'm ready. I think 2020 had a virus. We should reboot and try again.
Yeah, right? Like, just call it, it's restart, just reset, go back to the beginning. That's about where I'm at.
Saw the best meme and said, you know what? We're done. Just let it be Christmas.
Yeah, right? Like, just skip ahead. Either reboot or skip ahead. We got to do something different. But yeah, I'm with you on this one. It's been crazy.
You have a 10-year-old little girl?
I do. And she actually came up with the concept for, kids sometimes, and you have children too, so you know this, right? Like, they teach us things through different ways that we don't always see it. But she was the one that really pushed me to work on a project I'm working on now, which is a children's book series on AI. So it'll it'll teach kids about machine learning and AI so they understand it, and then they can teach their parents.
That's good, because I don't understand that.
Right. That's why it's brilliant though, right? Like, you teach the kids and then they'll teach their parents, like, here's how this works.
Yeah.
But it was her idea. So she wrote me a story one day about the lion's called Gracie Gray. So my daughter's name is Grace and my son's name is Grayson. So she said, Gracie Gray is the lion, and Gracie Gray's best friend is a bot. So like a robot, but it's an artificial intelligence bot. And they go on adventures together. And she had different adventures she wanted them to go on.
Oh my
God. Teach them about how things worked in the world. So imagine you go into a self-driving car and you see the parts of it that are using AI and how it works. So they'll go on these adventures together and teach kids the components of what makes up algorithms and machine learning and AI in a way that'll make sense to the kids.
You should get those published.
Yeah, we're working on them right now. And then teaches them things, even like one of the ones she came up with was the idea of how we all celebrate different holidays and how different is okay. And that when you actually search on the internet, different people have different holidays that they participate in, and just creating inclusivity of information by getting more information than what you're exposed to, that it helps us.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. That was her idea. Yeah.
Good for her at 10 years old, changing the world.
Yeah, we hope so. That's what she's working on. And meanwhile, I was in the car the other day. Someone asked me once, being an entrepreneur and running a business, does it rub off on your kids? And I said, well, I think it does, because I was in the car the other day and they were sitting in the back seat, and she explained to my 4-year-old that she just wanted him to send her the dividend checks from the companies, that she was going to that she was going to live on a farm and do art and do all these fabulous things. She goes, but Grayson, you run the company and then just send me my dividend check. Like, you're 4 and 10, really? Like
they're
this.
They're already planning it. I mean, they're planning their future.
Yeah, she was brilliant. She was outsourcing. She's like, you're going to run it. I'll just, I'll do what I need to do. You can run the company. Just send me the checks.
Well, there you go. A woman after my own heart. Just send me the money. I just care about it.
Just shoot me the checks. I'll be good.
Send me the money. That's awesome. Well, good for her. I hope she continues, because, that's lots of women get into IT and then they fall out because of culture, atmosphere, or not the encouragement. So hopefully she stays on it.
I know.
Yeah. And we need her to teach us AI, because I don't understand it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm excited about. Like, as soon as she does, she's, like I said, she does the illustration. She's very artistic, super creative. And so she illustrated the whole thing for me and came up with it and the idea and the concepts. And then we just help her achieve those. That's
fantastic. That is fantastic. Well, by the time this is released, this will already be announced, but I will have to connect with you, because I'm building out a mobile app. We will have to showcase her on the mobile application, and
super cool.
We're doing featured spots for women, and we'll just have a young woman featured.
That'd be amazing. That would be amazing.
She'll be you said she'll be 11 next month, so she'll be 11 at this time. So
yeah, exactly. Yep.
The future of the world take her over.
Yep, exactly. And already delegating. She's super good at that delegation.
That's great. That is a skill you have to have in this world, is delegation.
Yep. She's super good at that. She's already delegating to her brother on what tasks he needs to do and how he needs to do it. So.
That's great. That's great. All right. So go into, what companies do you work with on this?
We work with a lot of different ones. Right now, we're focused very much on not-for-profit or nonprofit companies that just need a platform that'll drive real adoption. So another passion, besides the youth entrepreneurs that we're building the platform for, we're working with an organization called Global Minded. And what we're doing is first-gen to college students. So folks whose parents didn't have an opportunity to go to college or higher education, we're working with them to algorithmically connect them to jobs and opportunities and internships. So the one good thing about COVID that I've seen is companies who traditionally were stuck in the mindset of you can't work remote, you need everyone in the same space, are really having to get out of that old mindset and adapt newer strategies, which is great because it's happening faster than I think we would have ever seen it without this. And one of those things we can do is connect them to more diverse populations of students. So getting more difference in socioeconomic background of the folks they're bringing in, different geographical backgrounds, where they live, where they've been raised, different backgrounds in terms of their cultures and what they're used to. So bringing this to companies that really want that diversity but haven't figured out how to tap into those universities or places. So this app is like, it oversimplifies it when we're talking with the United Nations, but it really, what it is it's eHarmony, or a matching platform for students to match their interests to internships or jobs or opportunities. Because if we all remember 2008, which I do, and the financial crisis that ensued then, young people got really hurt. New people coming out of college who needed jobs and internships were the ones who weren't getting them, and they really struggled. So we're hoping this assists in that through this process. So that's something we're working on now. We're also working with a lot of big tech companies, so high tech organizations, helping them transform the work they do. A lot of people are struggling right now with there's too much work and not enough time when you have to take care of kids and balance schedules,
Right.
and stuff. So it's like,
you'll have to be like a kindergarten teacher and
yeah.
What grade's your daughter going into?
She'll be fourth grade, so she's fourth grade. Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, and it's a struggle to do all of that. So I call bots, like the simple way I think of them is your virtual assistant, right? So if we all had virtual assistants, like what could they do for us while we're doing other things? That's what we look for opportunities for companies. So in insurance, for example, right now, big insurance companies obviously have a lot of spare cash because people aren't driving, they're not going anywhere, and they're not getting into accidents. So they're able to do something that they weren't able to do with that. So we're using bots to basically go across large volumes of data, which is super boring for any of us to just plow through tons of data and create patterns. And then with a pattern, you can make a decision off of it. And it's as simple as that. Really? And then we figure out how to do that all the time for them so that they know what their customers want, where they're having issues in their platform, creating efficiencies so that humans can think and do the things we're good at and not do all these mundane, monotonous types of tasks is the idea.
That's fabulous. I interviewed a lady who did that for a law firm.
Yeah.
She used AI because I guess when they go through, she was telling me that when a company acquisitions another company, there's all this data that has to be gone through.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like it's just not an easy, like, hey, I'm going to take over your company. There's like a ton and so they created a AI to do that and just spit out the results. Like
it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's so much more efficient. And then humans can do other higher level things like take that data and those just what you get off of combing through all that information actually help drive decisions instead of just spending all your time digging through data.
Yeah.
And that's what's brilliant. I mean, stuff we don't even think about. Like we were working with the government recently on every time either the Senate or the House, like think about this is impacting everyone right now, is the legislation they're trying to create around the CARES Act and COVID and, the unemployment payments, and will they be 200, 400, 600, 0, what's it going to be? Well, every time a bill or something comes before those folks, they have to manually check what the last one was and what the new one was, and manually basically go through those documents and redline them for everyone. So it's a super intense process to look at what changed from the last one or they have to run it through a pretty simplistic diffing program to look at the differences between the two. But not everyone does that. Not everyone's offices are doing that. Some of them are doing it still very manually. So what you could do with AI, similar to what she was saying, is you take those and you automatically give the high level of what changed. And people will trust it, right?
Right.
People a lot of times make mistakes. If you have an aide who did it but missed something, then you missed it, right? Like it's up to human error, and we all make errors when we're fatigued or you've been working long hours. We can use machines to do some of that heavy lifting so we don't have that human fatigue error coming into play in those situations.
Yeah, that takes it out of it.
Yeah, and it goes way faster, right? Because then now, instead of waiting a day to have an aide go through and validate it, it's automatically done in a matter of minutes. It's right there. It gives you a high-level summary. So that's the next piece of what we'll see that I think really makes a difference, is not just doing the heavy lifting, but visualizing information in a way that we can make decisions off of it. Like making it really easy.
Right.
The Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, the dummy book.
Yeah, the Cliff Notes version. I was giving a talk the other day and I loved it. Someone did like the Sketchpad or Sketch Note version of my talk. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so much easier. I'm just going to use that next time.
Oh, where they drew as they went? Oh, yeah.
the drawings and the pictures. I'm like, because we remember pictures so much better anyways, but it was such a great way to visualize it. And that's the next piece in AI is once you get the data, visualizing it in a way where we go, oh, that's what you need me to do. So,
and then execute it out.
Yeah, makes it way easier. It's like the coloring book version of.
I need one of those bots just to follow me around all day and just.
Oh yeah, you'd love it. It would be good. Take all the little tasks. Listen to what you need. Get the to-do list.
That kid over there needs to eat. Go feed him.
Yeah. Order something for that one. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Go take care of that.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's pretty cool actually.
So you're in Minneapolis.
Yeah, I am.
That's the home of Prince.
I know. We
Paisley Park.
Love Paisley Park. Exactly. We did a big launch event last year at Paisley Park because after Prince died, it was, I think, it's so tied. Our goal this year was to come back home before COVID. We didn't realize that was coming. But before COVID happened, we wanted to get more local, support more the Midwest and this area and its tech ecosystem and supporting people in not just on the coast, because a lot of this tech's developed, in Silicon Valley or on the East Coast.
Right.
And we want to bring a lot of that to the Midwest. Also wanted to create a lot of jobs in this space in the Midwest for people. So we hosted our launch event at Paisley Park because we were all about keeping it local, all the Minnesota things. We had a country singer who's rising up the charts right now. Not everyone loves country, but he's local Minnesota based that was there and sang and, just really focusing on local right now. And then COVID happened and now we can't leave. So it's good we focus local.
That's right.
We're not going anywhere.
You're trapped.
We're trapped. Yeah.
Yes. When you said Minneapolis, I was like, that's all I can ever think about is Paisley Park.
Oh, have you been?
I have never been.
Oh, they do a really, here for all your listeners. So for anyone that comes, they do a really cool tour and it's not that much more. You can sign it. You have to sign up. Now it's probably less frequently, but they did it in small groups and where a very small group of people would get to tour and see like some of his memorabilia and his cars and all that stuff. And they would give you kind of the history. But as of when I was there, I haven't been there in a few months, he still had white doves, like live ones that they had there. That were like his pets that he owned. Oh. Yeah. Like remember the movie with those were still there. Mm-hmm.
Purple Rain.
Yeah. They still have the doves. So, but you can go and there's a VIP tour where if you do the VIP tour and it's again not much more expensive than the regular tour, you get a picture so you can take a picture and sign it.
Really? Oh, that's right up my alley. I love the 80s, man. If I could go back and relive my 80s.
Right? But tell them everyone should, if you take a trip through Minnesota, book it online ahead because they only do them a couple of days a week or something like that for the foundation that he has. But I would highly encourage it. It's a really neat, you see how like everyone knows he wasn't a tall guy, but you actually see how tiny he was. Because they have tiny. Some of his outfits. He was tiny. He was like 112 pounds is all he weighed.
He was a little guy.
He's very little.
Yeah.
So, but it's cool to see, and you see the history and a lot of his awards, and his studio obviously is there. His office was there. It's just kind of neat to see inside. He was such a creative person. How people live when they're that creative.
Out of the norm. They're way out there.
Yeah, totally. So it's fun to see. But I would encourage people to check it out if you ever get a chance.
I'm going to have to. It's on my bucket list. I have to.
Yeah, you need to.
Because it's on, grew up at that era. I loved it. So
yeah, and there's so many other cool, like, the Time and some of those, the Jets are from Minnesota. Probably no one remembers the Jets, but they were a singing group too. Like, the Jets are from Minnesota. So they lived in Minnesota for a long time and they would record with Prince. And I was just talking to, on Friday, where I was at a women's leadership event. They were trying this new thing where part in person, most virtual, like 600 virtual, but we did it in a TV studio and there's only like 30 people in the room, socially distanced. but the MC was from WCCO, and she was the Steele family, which is very musical in Minnesota. They record a lot of stuff with Prince and did some of the backup work. And stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Lots of connections here.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. So, your company, I noticed, does gaming.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've worked for years. So I knew what esports were before a lot of people did. We worked on the first esports platform.
Oh, okay.
Years ago. So I remember when I was working on it, I would ask people, do you know what esports is? And everyone would be like, what's that? Right? Because it was years ago. And we historically had worked with HBO, and HBO shifted their platform from a homegrown, everyone knows Game of Thrones crashed. So when Game of Thrones crashed,
all came to an end.
It all came to an end, and they were looking for a new streaming platform, and they purchased one from MLB. So it was called BAMTech at the time. Well, not many people had used MLB's streaming platform unless you worked for MLB. So when we started working with HBO, we had experience with BAMTech in the streaming platform. So when the first company to create an esports team out in California wanted to use that platform, we were some of the only people with experience in it. So we worked on that. Yeah, so we worked on that originally, and that was for Riot Games. So a lot of people know League of Legends and their stuff. So that was my first foray into esports, was through Riot Games and the gaming stuff. We then did some work with Fortnite, which is a game that a lot of people have exposure to.
Oh, and my kids play it.
Yeah, so we did stuff with them.
Like my son, I have a 9-year-old son. He'll talk to me like I know what the hell's going on in that game. You know, Mom, like, you know, on Fortnite when you get different skins, and I'm like, no, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. And that's actually one of the problems, right? So he's right on. Those skins and stuff are really important. So when someone goes in and say you're 9, 10, 11, and you only have so much money and you spend money on these things, they better be on your player, so you can use them. So that's one of the things that we work on, is stuff like that, to make sure that you get what you think you're getting when you're engaging in a platform like that, because it has to work. And if you think about gaming companies, here's what's super fascinating just in the world of gaming is they don't know what's going to be big till it launches, right?
Right.
So they kind of hobble it together, and it's like, twine and duct tape and all that stuff till they get it out the door. And then if it goes massive and kids love it, all of a sudden you got to make this thing work and scale.
Yeah.
So that's where we come in, is, they initially just kind of got it out the door, but now you got to make it work for all these kids who depend on it every day.
Right. It's the life here.
Yeah. Well, it's so important right now during COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely during COVID. But the big one right now, Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Oh my
do you have do you play? Do you have a village or whatever?
No, I don't play, but I have a teenager.
See, I just learned this, right? Like the village, and you have to maintain it. And if you just leave it go, weeds grow. It's like anything else,
It's like a hot, and then she's very particular about where you can plant trees, and you gotta go fishing. Oh my God. I'm like, you know what? We're lucky I keep this place afloat.
Right. I can't have I don't need virtual villages that I'm keeping afloat. I've got my own village, and it needs, yeah.
We're lucky we're all surviving here.
Right. Exactly. You all got dressed. Did you eat today? Perfect. Doing good. There we go.
We've successfully made it halfway through the day. Yeah. And she'll be like, oh, do you want to come and play? No, I don't want to come and play. Are you kidding me? I may purposely kill an animal.
Right, exactly. If I had a time warp where I could just lose a few hours, it wouldn't matter maybe, but otherwise, no.
Yeah, so that seems to be the big thing during COVID for us right now. I'm just like, oh my God, yeah.
It is, and those games have, here's what I think is, we're working with another company just now, and I thought, well, what a brilliant thing. It's esports coaching and basically certifications for coaches. So just for sports teams, live sports, you have coaches. Well, there is no equivalent in esports, but if you had coaches who were certified to coach kids, so they grow up with more than just knowing how to play, but like, what is good sportsmanship in esports?
Right.
What are kind of the rules that we should all live by? You know, what are the social things they're learning? Because they do learn some things through this process, hopefully, and like how to be a good sport, all the same stuff you learn in live sports, but not all kids are live sports kids. So if we could translate that to what they do like in these esports, I was like, this is brilliant. It's a new company we just talked with last week that we're starting to work with on creating that program, where you would build these certified coaches that could then help kids with making sure they've got the principles down, the foundation down, that they are using good sportsmanship, that they're getting leadership skills, all those types of life skills that we want them to have.
Because we're not getting it in the schools right now.
No, right. But if they could get it through this, right, and it's something they spend hours a day, as you know, on, I mean, how do we infuse it in a way that's still gamification, they have fun with it and all of that? So
we, our conference will be over by the time anybody hears this, but we're using a gaming kind of platform, and it's like you have an avatar and you walk through, and it's very like tried to be like in person as much as possible because of that ambiance and atmosphere that gets created when people come together. It's very exciting and whatnot. So, we're getting a lot of feedback that Zoom and things like that are killing the relationships within companies. So I'm guessing you're remote.
Yeah, we're in our office a little bit. Minnesota opened back up June. So in June, we started to open back up, and we're a smaller organization, right? So we don't have the large numbers that other people do. So when the funny thing is we try and do, and I heard this even from some of my friends in California, that they'll take smaller groups of people, 2 or 3, but they'll socially distance and go to like a park, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll have a discussion outside in the park just on a topic that they were going to talk about as a team, just to get some of that mixed in interaction for the folks that are comfortable with it, right? Not everyone is. But for us, like I said, I'm starting to see kind of blends of in-person and virtual stuff now, where like the TV studio thing where we did it, some people in person, a lot of people on Zoom, but you got a different vibe from it, and learning how to mix those strategies, I think, is really nice. Because a lot of the introverts that I've talked to who are naturally introverted, they're like, this is amazing, right? Like they love it.
They love it.
I'm living my best life. Like this is awesome.
They're like, COVID is great.
Yeah, they're like, this is awesome, right? And then the huge extroverts are like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna hurt someone. Like, it's so hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah. And you love your family, but you need some other people besides them.
Yeah. I'm a social person. I need to get away from have other interactions other than Fortnite stands and Animal Crossing.
Exactly.
And what's for dinner?
Exactly. Yes. Like something else. Yeah. So that's why I'm hopeful that we find a way, as it's safe for people, but to start to do these mixed events where the folks that really do, they're okay on Zoom and they're okay, being remote, but feeling connected are there. And then the people that do want some more of that interaction can do it in a way that's safe, but distant still, in larger spaces with less people and all of that. But we'll see how that plays out. But we're starting to try that here more, and it's seeming to work, as well as I have a group of folks that I've known for a long time in my circle, where I'm, slowly starting to get to them now and do things with those groups in small ways so that they're comfortable, but yet they're getting what they need, which is that interaction.
Right. So does your company work with like all apps?
Yeah. Yep.
So any app could be made into a
AI powered.
AI?
Mm-hmm.
Really? How does that work? Like take an app that
Yeah. So basically what we do first is a design, like a human-centered design session. So it's basically, what are you trying to achieve? Like, what are you trying to do with whatever you're building? Everyone has that goal.
Right.
And then we basically build them an AI roadmap. And it just says, based on what you're building, here's all the places, kind of like the legislation thing, where if this is your process and how you do your job every day, or what you envision this app doing for people every day, how do you start to layer AI insights across that? And what are the different components? It could be as simple as you want to get, I'm working with a group out of New York, and they work with a lot of female business owners who are starting companies. And historically, Amazon, Google, all the big guys have always had this capability to recommend and know what you want, and like try and shove stuff in your cart for you and all that stuff. But we said, wouldn't it be nice to bring that to small businesses and give them some of the insights that the big ones are getting, but show them how to do it, because they don't have all the tech people and the savvy that the big ones do. So what we do is build them a roadmap that says, would you like to just know sentiment of your consumer? Like what your consumer's thinking right now about your app and what they're saying on Instagram and Facebook and all of their social media platforms. Pulling that in and then analyzing it and saying, if you make these 2 tweaks, people are going to like this more. Or using it, or using it to go across, say, your UX design. So how you actually set the app up. You can actually see patterns of how people are engaging and where they're stopping and staying to reorder the UX or make changes that'll make it more optimal for your consumer.
Now, do you work around, do you have like, international companies you are working with?
Yeah, so we were going to. So right before COVID hit, I was actually in Europe and doing some work overseas. And now as a strategy, I think that'll be a 2021 later strategy now with just everything going on in the world. But really what we wanted to do, like I said, for the rest of this year is focus on giving back, having that impact, and then smaller businesses. We really want to also impact, the small businesses that are struggling right now and giving them some advantages, because we want to see them survive into next year and make that leap. So that's kind of where we're focused, but we'll go back more international probably in next year, I think is where we'll see. Now, if someone came to us and said, we have this really cool problem we want to solve, we'd probably help them with it. But yeah, I think it's probably more of a next year.
Okay. So what do you do when you're not busy?
Oh gosh. Right.
Because you probably have a ton of free time.
Yeah. No, that's one of the things I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like it's gotten even crazier since this all started, because first of all, I think a lot of people all of a sudden woke up and went, oh my gosh, I don't have enough time to do all my work. And formerly we're kind of afraid or not wanting to deal with AI, and now they all kind of woke up and went, oh gosh, we should probably do something with this. Like it's time.
It's coming. It's coming like a tidal wave.
yeah, and they know it's coming. But right now, my passion, like I said, is with youth, and it's really with youth entrepreneurs and kids. So this is going to sound funny. This doesn't probably sound like a side project, but I'm working right now with people in the government here in Minnesota to pass legislation to allow youth to own their own businesses. So it's passed in California and Colorado, but those are the only 2 states that have it. So as that I know of right now, there might be a third was working on it, but I don't know if they passed it. For sure, California and Colorado, and maybe Nevada, but I'm not positive.
Just to own their own business.
Yeah, to allow youth entrepreneurs to own their businesses, because right now for youth, if you're not in those states, your parents have to open up the bank account. They have to do the incorporation. They have to register the business, do all of that.
Oh, I see. So it's all under kind of their name.
Yeah.
Right?
And if you don't have a parent that wants to support you in that, right? Or that even knows how to do it. So we're partnering with an organization out of Colorado called Dream Tank, And they built now a global program for youth. It's like Techstars or an incubator for youth, where youth can apply and get in, and they can be a part of this program to get the support they need on how to start a business, how to come up with a business plan, how to get an idea, how to build that out. So now that they have that support, we want to pass the legislation so youth in our backyard here, I said it's all about local,
Right.
folks here in Minnesota, we're starting with Minnesota, but I want to do the surrounding states as well. Like Wisconsin needs it and you guys need it. So, but we want to start with Minnesota and get that passed. So we had hoped to get it in last legislative session, but everyone's obviously on COVID. But I think it's going to be important in the fall for kids, because without schools, without some of that interaction, let's have them working on things they're passionate about, and they're tied to things. The only requirement for youth is it can't be just like, we can't just start businesses to do things that don't make a difference or aren't good for
right.
them. So it just, the legislation ties it to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which means future of work, ending poverty, something that makes an impact in the world. It has to be tied to that. So this program helps them learn how to tie it to impact. Like I mentioned, the one for veterans, the one for future hospitals, those types of things. It could be around water safety. It could be around pollution. It could be around anything like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's my spare time right now.
Oh my God, that does not sound like spare time. I thought you maybe would be like, oh, I like to golf or something, right? She's like, I like to pass legislation.
That's just the summer, right?
Where's the part where we have drinks? I didn't get that.
That too. Virtual happy hours. I am becoming quite the connoisseur of low sugar wines. So I'm trying that out now. I found this really cool company that does low sugar wines where you don't get hangovers or any of that bad stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What does it taste like?
Well, it's some of them are very good.
Oh, okay.
That's why I try them all. But some of them are very good. But you know what it is? I would encourage people who normally say, oh, I get headaches from reds or I get headaches from certain wine. This is a company that lab tests them for the chemicals and the sulfates. That's usually what's giving people all the side effects.
Oh, really?
They add all these chemicals in and all this other stuff. But this company, what they do is they lab test them to tell you what's in it and preservatives and sugar. I'm telling you, it's like life-changing if you like during COVID.
That's so funny. Yeah, nobody likes a morning hangover. That's for sure.
No, right?
Wow.
So this stuff is incredible. They're called Dry Farm Wines, and they're out of California. So they're amazing. They'll every 2 months, I think, they ship you new ones.
So it's deliverable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It comes right to your door. That's
right to your door. Even better.
Yeah, you don't need to go anywhere. And you can pick red, white, or a mix of red and white, or rosés if you like those in the summer, and champagne, like bubbly ones. Oh yeah.
What's the name of it? I gotta write this down.
Yeah, you do. Dry Farm Wines.
Dry Farm Wines. All right.
And you can do different packages, different subscriptions, but it's life-changing. And I'm telling you, I need you to try it. And then I need you to call me and let me know if I was right about how you could not that I'm encouraging people to do this, but you could have a whole bottle and wake up the next day and be like, I'm totally good.
Feel fantastic. I could run a mile.
Exactly. So yeah, not encouraging that, but if it happened, you'll be okay.
You'll be all right. Yeah, that's the worst part about wine is the hangover.
Exactly. It is. And that's why this is so different. It's just, and I love it because I didn't realize this, and I love wine, but I didn't realize that a lot of the big wine manufacturers, you know, when you go and you're like, oh, I love it because it always tastes the same. Well, that's the problem. All those chemicals are what makes it always taste the same. So if you have these ones that they lab test have to be grown. The reason it's called dry farm is they can't use artificial stuff to grow the grapes. They have to dry farm it, like let it mature on its own and all of that without intervention and without all the chemicals when they produce them. But it tastes different. So like you could get one bottle of a vintage, like same year, whatever, and then get another one and they'll taste slightly different because they're not adding all that stuff that makes it taste like macaroni and cheese when you grew up, where it's like that fluorescent color, but it always tasted the same.
The Kraft mac and cheese with the
Yeah.
powdered cheese.
Exactly. That's how, right? It's chemically induced.
They probably just pound out chemicals and
Yeah.
here's your powdered cheese.
Exactly. See? Same thing with wine. So
Are your kids in any sports?
I have my 4-year-old loves to golf. So you talk about golf. We just put in like a little golf course in the backyard, a little golf course, not a big golf course in the backyard for him to start doing that. Because he loves to swim and do all these things, but they can't really right now.
No.
So no, we've tried to do like golf in the backyard for him. And then my daughter is super artistic. So she's a swimmer and an artist, but she's not a team sports person. So she'll always do those individual type things, but probably not team sports for that one.
My son is this big swimmer.
Yeah. And was he a natural swimmer? Like some kids, you throw them in and it's like they just start swimming right away. Yeah, that was her too. She's long and lean, and she reminds me of like a girl version of Michael Phelps with like those really long hands. Like her feet are like the same size as mine, and like she just has very long limbs and things. So
yeah, my son's not quite as old as your daughter. He's 9 and he's almost 5 feet and he weighs a whole whopping 60 pounds. So when the wind blows just right, he's gone.
Yeah. Just tall and lean, like but great in the water, and they're just so graceful when they it's like they're floating on there.
Yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So okay, well, we need a website.
Yes. So I have 2 of them. I have mine, which is my jenbonine.com. So if you want to learn about wine and that stuff, go there, because that's where I talk about all the
website to check out.
So my Jen Bonine's, it's JENNBONINE.com is where all my tips on all that stuff is, the fun stuff. And then AIAppstore.com is our company website, and you can put in your information. We'll get it to build your AI roadmap and plan for company.
All right, perfect. And then so they can reach out to you. So the company can reach out through that, like a contact us kind of thing.
Yeah, totally can. Yeah,
okay.
My Jen Bonine website or LinkedIn. I use that a lot if people have questions too.
All right, perfect. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time because we know that Dry Farm Wine is waiting for you. It is 2:00. No, it's not there. What is it?
Not here yet. It's almost 1:00 though. And in COVID time, that's practically like 5:00. So.
Correct. It is so close.
So close. We're right there.
That's how I'm figuring anything, if I can make it after 12.
Yeah.
Game on.
Game on. It's a good day. It's a good day.
So, because everything happens before noon, and then after 12, it's like, all right, game on now. So
the day's practically over. It's wine time. I can't wait. We'll have to do a virtual happy hour sometime with your Dry Farm wine.
Oh my God, yes. I'm going to check it out, and then we'll have
We'll do a tasting.
Yes. We'll have to do one of those. This tastes like.
Yeah, there you go.
It's summer evening.
Yeah. And then someone will be like, that didn't taste so good, but that's okay. You win some, you lose some.
That's right. So, all right. So Jen, JENN Bonine.com.
Yep.
Or AIAppstore.com.
Perfect.
Both of those. All right. And this is a side note, so people can stop listening at this point. But I'm going to send you information. You should join the Witcon 2020.
Yeah.
It's our 3-day virtual conference, and you don't have to commit to all 3 days. Like, I'll just send you a code, and
I want to go
and check it out, and maybe you'll be able to you'll have some opportunity to network and promote yourself. So there you go.
I'm going. It sounds amazing. Actually, you know what's so funny on that? I think I had just seen someone promoting that I knew from Nationwide.
Yes. So Melanie Kolp is the keynote speaker. She's she is gonna what day does she open? Thursday maybe.
Yeah. I had met her. We met with a lot of the execs at Nationwide. So when I met her, I saw her promoting it. So I said, we need to go. So
She's great.
I was already on the wavelength of going. This sounds awesome, for sure.
We have JJ I never say her last name right, remember, because that's a fault of mine. Geronimo.
Oh.
Yes. She does like a lot of things out of Cleveland, tech related. She got a couple of books. And then Tiffany Norwood.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
And 45-ish speakers. So,
very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. All but one man. All women, but one man. I know. It's very exciting.
It sounds amazing. We're going. This is going to be awesome.
So I will send you the information so you can just log right on. Yeah. All right. Well, lady, I thank you so much. You have a good rest of your day, your Monday.
Yeah.
And go get your wine.
Go get my wine. You get your wine. I want to hear about the wine if you liked it after.
Okay. I'm going to get the wine and see. I'm going to have to check it out.
I know. I want your review on it. Like, again, you have to get at least 6, and then 2 of the 6 you'll love, and then maybe a couple you won't. But at least then I found you can look them up and find them other places because they've done all the lab testing, right? So they know it's.
You know what I would do? The ones I don't like, I would give it to a friend and be like, I tried this wine. It's excellent. You should try it. and then be like, try it. And then they're not going to be like, oh, right? They're going to go, oh, yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. They'll be like, that was amazing. Yeah. You'll be like, it's so healthy for you.
Has no chemicals.
No chemicals. It's like eating grapes.
Yeah, because I'm that type of person who would do that.
That's amazing.
All right. Well, I love chatting with you. So fun. Thank you so much.